down. This would be the AV bundle taking over. Very slow. This is faster than Atrial Flutter. Some of these I don't know. I don't know this one, but it's still fun to watch. Very nice. So don't worry, I'm not going to test you on all of those different arrhythmias. The ones that I talked about here are the ones that I'm more interested in, okay? So let's talk about the cardiac cycle and what's going on. Cardiac cycle is what happens in the heart from one heartbeat to the next heartbeat. And so you have two basic terms. You have this term called systole, which is ventricular or atrial contraction, and then diastole, which is ventricular or atrial relaxation. And so everything happens due to changing pressures in the heart. So you're either going to have a very, very strong pressure in the atria that pushes blood into the ventricles, or a strong pressure in the ventricles that pushes blood out into the arteries. that's going to cause blood to flow from one area to the next. Ventricular contraction occurs when the ventricles have a higher pressure than the pressure in the arteries. And ventricular relaxation occurs after the blood has left the ventricles, then the ventricles can relax. So you have this buildup of blood in the ventricles causing the ventricles to get very, very stretched, and then they contract. And they push the blood out into the arteries, and then they relax. And then they start filling up more. And then they get very, very stressed again, and they contract and push the blood out, and then they relax. Does that make sense? When they are relaxed, the AV valves open. When they are getting ready to contract, the AV valves close, and the SL valves will eventually open. So here is ventricular, here is the cardiac cycle. It starts with atrial systole, where the atria contract, pushing all the remaining blood that's in the atria into the ventricles. Then the ventricles start entering their systole, and the atria move into their diastole. When the ventricles start to contract or get ready to contract, the pressure buildup in the ventricles causes the AV valves to close, and eventually the increased pressure will cause the SL valves to open. The SL valves open at the same time, and both ventricles push their blood out. That's ventricle systole. And then they enter diastole. So during diastole, blood that remained in the ventricles is sitting there, but no excess blood is moving in yet. The ventricles will eventually start filling with blood when the atria contract. So here we have atria entering their systole. They're filling up. Eventually they're going to open, and blood starts to pool down, and then the atria contract, and they push the blood back down again. And so we just continuously go through the same cycle over and over again. I'm going to stop here. I know this is a shorter video, but this way I can keep cardiac output and everything together in our last video for this chapter. Have a wonderful morning, evening, or night.